Why does it feel like the literal second we hit 60, our bodies just decide to quit on us? Hey guys, welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're terrified of waking up one day feeling weak, frail, and basically invisible, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, I'm sharing my own personal story. I'm going to reveal the hidden biological loophole that I discovered to completely transform my body in my 60s. I actually found a way to build serious, dense muscle and strip off that stubborn belly fat at the exact same time. Now, I know that sounds completely impossible, right? But I'm going to give you the exact, no BS mathematical formula that makes it happen. I am, however, keeping the actual math under wraps until the end of this explainer, so stick with me, man, because what you're about to learn is a total game changer.
Okay, so let's dive right into this. Have you ever honestly asked yourself this question? You're in the gym, you're busting your tail, putting in the grunt work, sweating it out, trying to lift just like you did back in the day. But month after month, the mirror shows the exact same guy staring back. It is incredibly frustrating, and honestly, it's a little scary. You start thinking, man, is this it? Am I just destined to get weaker from here on out? That deep-seated fear of aging, of needing help just to carry the groceries or get up out of a deep chair, it's super real. But I'm here to tell you, it does not have to be your reality. If you are sick and tired of spinning your wheels, there is real hope. There's this elite 5% secret that literally saved my physique, and I'm going to break the whole shebang down for you right now.
Before I found that secret, though, I had a massive, frankly terrifying wake-up call. I hit what the scientists call a catabolic crisis. So here's what happened to me. I had a minor surgery, which was then followed a few months later by a really nasty bout of the flu. I was stuck on the couch, just totally inactive for these discrete periods of time. And bam, I lost muscle mass that I just could not seem to claw back. These little periods of inactivity, they stack up. And for guys our age, it pushes us right to the edge of a cliff toward what experts call the disability threshold. And once you cross that line, man, getting your baseline strength back is a monumental, grueling, uphill battle.
Longevity expert Dr. Peter Attia compares muscle to a retirement fund. And when I first heard this, it hit me like a ton of bricks. My physical bank account was going straight bankrupt. You see, unlike body fat, our bodies do not store extra amino acids for a rainy day. The absolute only place we store them is right there in our muscle tissue. So when we get sick or we just stop moving, our body literally eats its own muscle just to survive. I realized right then and there I had to start making some massive deposits. So let's get into part one. The scientific villain, unmasking anabolic resistance.
When I finally dragged myself back to the gym to make those deposits, absolutely nothing worked. And that's when I discovered the true enemy that's keeping us small and soft, anabolic resistance. Basically, as we age and become a bit less active, our muscle tissue gets downright stubborn. It essentially goes deaf to the signals telling it to grow. What worked perfectly for me when I was 30, a standard protein shake and some heavy bench presses, was completely useless now. To get the exact same muscle-building response as a younger guy, I realized I had to literally shout at my muscles with a much, much stronger biological signal.
To overcome this anabolic resistance, we need a drastically different science-backed approach. You just can't wing it anymore. Clinical data from the ESPEN expert group actually proves that we have to combine specific, highly targeted resistance training with a heavily modified dietary protein intake just to wake those aging muscles back up.
Moving right along to part two, the paradigm shift, diet and exercise after 60.
This shift really forced me to face the music and realize I was making two catastrophic mistakes. I was eating like a fragile retiree, and I was training like a reckless 25-year-old. Let's start in the kitchen. For years, we've all been told the recommended daily allowance for protein is 0.8 grams per kilogram. Guys, that is pure BS. That is a minimal survival allowance just to keep you from literally wasting away in a hospital bed. It is absolutely not the optimal target you need to actually build physical armor and thrive well into our 60s.
So the absolutely crucial point here is this new clinical sweet spot, 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. The world's top longevity and fitness experts all agree that this is the absolute minimum range necessary to force our resistant, stubborn muscles out of a negative breakdown state and jumpstart them into a positive, growing state.
I absolutely love this vivid analogy from Dr. Stuart Phillips. He says getting muscle growth out of an older body is a lot like wringing out a wet washcloth. If you actually want to squeeze out every last drop of muscle-building potential that your older body has left in the tank, you have to crank that protein up to that 1.6 mark. That's exactly what I did, and let me tell you, it completely changed the game for me.
So let's see how this actually builds into a daily action plan. Here is the exact 60-plus protein protocol that I personally used. To make the math super easy for us over here in the States, just eat 1 gram of protein per pound of your target body weight. So, if you want to weigh a solid, lean 175 pounds, you eat 175 grams of protein a day, period. Non-negotiable. Focus heavily on animal-based proteins that are rich in fast-digesting leucine. You want to spread that across a minimum of 4 meals to keep spiking that muscle protein synthesis all day. And here's a massive hack for you. Get 40 grams of protein in within 30 minutes of waking up. Eating light, like having just a piece of toast and coffee for breakfast, is a catastrophic error for guys our age.
All right, part 3. Train smarter, not harder. The Elite 5% secret.
Pivoting over to the gym, I really had to check my stubborn male ego at the door. I always thought more sweat equaled more muscle, but doing more was actually destroying my gains. Check out this mind-blowing stat. A 2022 study showed that men over 60 who dialed back their volume, who actually trained smarter, not harder, and prioritized recovery, built almost 50% more muscle. 47% more. No way, right? Why? Because after 60, our stress hormones, like cortisol, stay elevated for way longer. If you just keep stacking brutal workouts on top of each other, you aren't building muscle, you are literally tearing it down.
So, knowing that, I stripped my routine down to the absolute bare basics. This is the foundational rebuilding routine. Forget all those crazy 6-day split routines the 25-year-old gym bros do. It's literally just 3 movements: a squat, a hinge like a Romanian deadlift, and a push like a standard push-up. I did this just 3 times a week. That's it. It completely reestablished my neurological pathways, taught my dormant muscles how to fire again, and stimulated real growth without drowning my system in toxic stress hormones.
And hey, I also had to completely avoid the cardio trap. We all kind of think we need to jog for hours to lose the beer gut, right? But endless cardio on the treadmill was just making me a smaller, weaker, softer version of myself. Overdoing that steady-state endurance work literally burns away the precious muscle you are working so incredibly hard to build.
Which brings us to part 4, the climax, the secret recomp formula. Okay, the moment has finally arrived to pull back the curtain on the exact mathematical formula I promised you at the very beginning. The secret to building muscle and burning fat at the exact same time. But first, we need to completely shatter the biggest fitness lie we've ever been fed. The old myth says you have to choose. You either starve yourself to lose the fat, or you eat like a horse to bulk up and build muscle. But the new truth, especially for us guys over 60 who are actually dialing in our protein, is called body recomposition. Our bodies can actually process both of those states simultaneously if we set up the internal environment correctly.
I read this in some recent clinical research, and it totally blew my mind. Human metabolism isn't a simple on-off switch. It's actually a dimmer dial. By hitting my high-protein targets and sending the right mechanical signals through smart lifting, I tapped into this beautiful biological loophole. I literally tricked my own body into eating its own stubborn belly fat to fuel the construction of brand new muscle on my chest and arms. How cool is that?
But here it is. Here is the secret math, the absolutely critical data point you cannot mess up. 300. To make this body recomposition magic actually happen, a maximum 300-calorie deficit is your absolute hard limit. If you restrict your food by any more than 300 calories a day, that dimmer dial snaps and bricks. You shut down muscle growth completely and revert right back to just starving yourself. A tiny 300-calorie deficit, paired with massive protein and smart lifting, is the golden ticket, guys. So let's bring it all together right now. Here is my exact step-by-step 12-month blueprint, daily operating system. 3 days a week of lifting with progressive overload, meaning just adding a tiny bit of weight or squeezing out 1 extra rep over time. 1 day of brisk, purposeful walking to burn off that visceral fat without eating into your muscle. Sleep absolutely dialed in, getting deep, restorative rest so your hormones can naturally recover, a strict, no more, no less 300-calorie deficit, and 1 gram of protein per target pound of body weight. Listen to me, consistency over time, not extreme bone-breaking effort, is the real magic here.
So I'll leave you with this final, incredibly important thought. Look at your calendar. Go look in the mirror. Will 60 be the year you just accept defeat, buy the oversized elastic pants, and slowly fade out? Or will this be the year you finally rewrite your own blueprint? Make the decision today, right this very minute, to reclaim your strength.
Adopt an identity that says, I am a man who trains. The science is totally there, the math formula is right in front of you, now it's just up to you to execute. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, guys. Keep learning, keep pushing hard, and I'll see you in the next one.